Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Engineer Shad Muhammad, lecturer at Department of Civil Engineering, ComSets University, Islamabad, Sahiwal campus. And I welcome you all at our lecture number 19th of the subject Civil Engineering, Construction and Graphics. And today we will be discussing fundamentals of engineering economics with reference, particularly reference to machine rates problems. So, in previous lecture we studied analysis of capital and operating cost, and we studied different categories in which operating capital and operating cost needs to be subdivided, and we studied why machine rates or equipment rate is necessary before buying an equipment. An owner of the construction company needs to consider different liabilities which will be incorporated during its service life of the equipment, and the cost and benefits which needs to be considered. So we also studied what are the objectives of the machine rates, and we also studied some basic definitions. Purchase cost, it is the primary cost that includes sales tax and insurances, and factory cost, or you can say that delivered cost, and economic life. We studied the useful life of the machine, and salvage, the resale value of the machine is called salvage value. Classification of the cost, we studied fixed cost and ownership cost, and operating cost and labor cost, and there are subcategories of fixed cost. Fixed cost and ownership cost occurs at buying and storage and depreciation, and operating cost during usage, and labor cost, the technical staff required for usage of the machine. Or these costs need to be considered while buying the equipment, and considering the benefit of that money which is consumed on buying of that equipment. Okay, the extraction of this lecture was this, that unit rate of the equipment you could extract while considering these costs. These are your inputs, and output is your unit rate, and while including these plus some profits need also be incorporated while bidding for some particular project. Okay, in lecture number 19th, we'll go through some fundamentals of engineering economics. You will have studied a lot in your subject engineering economics, and you would have gone through them in details. Let's overview them, and we will majorly be focusing on machine rate problems. The theory which we studied in the previous lecture will assist us in understanding and solving machine rate problems. And you can also think that engineering without calculation is nothing. So in today's lecture we will study time value of the money. What is time value of the money? And we also study simple interest and compound interest. We will revise them, equivalency of the money, and quantification alternatives for decision making. If you have two different machines, so how you will quantify that which machine is better for you, and cash flow diagrams, and compound interest factors, single payment compound amount factor, single payment present worth factor, uniform series present worth factor, capital recovery factor, uniform series compound amount factor, and sinking fund factors. And we will solve a few problems based on machine rates. Alright, students, time value of the money. Time value of the money is important when one is interested either in investing or borrowing money. So it is important while investing or borrowing money. If a person invests his money today in bank savings, by next year he will definitely accumulate more money than his investment. Yeah, if you just means invest your money in saving account of the banks, then after 1 year you will have some additional money in addition to your original money. This accumulation of the money over a specified time period is known as time value of the money. This accumulation of the money over a specified time period is known as time value of the money. Similarly, if a person borrows some money today, by tomorrow he has to pay more money than original loan. This is also explained by the time value of the money. So means if you are borrowing some money, means if you borrowed almost or you just say that 10 lakh rupees today, and after 1 year you may pay 11 lakh rupees. So time value of money is generally expressed in interest amount. So this time value of the money, actually time value of the money is this, that with the passage of time, value depreciates itself. Means if you borrowed a money 10 lakh rupees today, so if you are returning 10 lakh rupees after 1 year, so that 10 lakh rupees will not be equivalent. You need to add something more to make that money equivalent to that previous value of that money. So with the passage of time, money value decreases, so that rate at which that money decreases is known as interest. The original investment or the borrowed money amount loan is known as principal amount. The original investment or the original borrowed amount is known as principal amount, and amount of interest indicates increase between principal amount invested or borrowed and the final amount received or owned. So if you are borrowing, then interest is borrowed amount plus minus received amount minus borrowed amount will be the amount of interest. In case of investment is made in the past, the total amount of interest accumulated till now is given by amount of interest is equal to total amount to be received minus original investment or principal amount. This is amount of interest, not rate of interest. Rate of interest is in percentage and amount of interest is in amount. Similarly, in case of loan taken, the total amount of the interest is given by amount of interest is equal to present amount owed minus original loan. So if you have taken a loan, so present amount owed minus original loan. All right. In both cases, there is a net increase in overall amount of the money that was originally invested or borrowed. When the interest amount is expressed as percentage of original amount per unit time, the resulting parameter is known as rate of interest. Percentage of original amount is known as rate of interest and generally represented by I, small I. The time period over which interest rate is expressed is interest period. The interest period is the time period at which interest is applicable. Interest rate is generally expressed per unit year. However, in some cases, interest rate may also be expressed per month. So that depends on the loaning or donor agency, that if that you can have per month interest, per day interest, and per year interest. Basically, when you are dealing with the machine, so that is majorly per year interest rate. Simple interest. Interest is said to be simple when interest is charged only on the principal amount for the interest period. Okay, if interest is incorporated only on the principal amount that during the interest period, then that is known as simple interest. No interest is charged on the interest amount accrued during the preceding interest periods. In the same case, simple interest, the total amount of interest accumulated for a given interest period is simply the product of principal amount, interest rate, percentage, and number of interest periods. It is given by the expression this: total interest is equal to principal amount, number of interest period, and interest rate. Simple interest reflects the effect of time value of the money on the principal amount. It do show the time value of the money on the principal amount, and compound interest. The interest is said to be compound when the interest for any interest period is charged on the principal amount plus the interest amount accrued in all the previous interest period. This means that compound interest is if you have if you borrowed a loan from a bank 1 lakh rupees, so after 1 year with approximately 10% interest, you will have to return 1,10,000 rupees. So in compound interest, in second year you have to pay similar 1,10,000 rupees in addition to 1,10,000, so 1,20,000 rupees in simple interest. But in compound interest you will have to multiply interest rate and interest period on the principal plus accrued amount. Compound interest takes into account the effect of time value of the money on both principal as well as on the accrued interest also. In case of simple interest, the amount of interest accumulated each year is constant. That's interesting. However, in case of compound interest, the interest amount accumulated at end of each year is not constant and increases with interest periods. Okay, in case of compound interest, the interest accumulated at the end of is not constant and increases with the interest period. You can see that the comparison between simple and compound interest at the end of year, you can see first year, second year, third year, fourth year, you bought 800 rupees and considering interest, and you have 800 rupees now. So next year it will be 800. That will be constant. In compound interest on simple interest per percentage, that will keep on increasing. Equivalency is an interesting concept. Equivalency indicates that different amount of money at different time periods are equivalent by considering time value of money. So if you have 9,000 rupees today, 1 year before you had 9,000 rupees, today that 9,000 does not have that value of 9,000 1 year prior. So that will be having, I think, 9,800 something, and 1 year from now that will be almost equivalent to 10,000 or 11,000 rupees. So 2 years back that 9,000 will be equivalent to today's 1 year from now equivalent to 11,000 rupees. So there is that is difference between that rates or value of the money is due to time. Equivalent value of an amount that is borrowed now at future time at a given interest rate depends on the type of interest, whether simple or compound. Okay, time value of the money depends on the rate of interest, that is simple or compound, and the different loan repayment arrangements. That also equivalency depends on different loan repayment arrangements, like payment of accumulated interest annually and the principal at the end of stipulated interest periods, or payments of both principal and interest at the end of interest periods, or payments of the uniform amounts annually that comprises a portion towards the payment of the principal amount and the remaining for the accumulated interest throughout the interest periods. Okay, we will go through lecture and we will be defining many of these aspects. So you need not to be confused in these terminologies. At the end of the lecture you will be very easily comprehending this paragraph. Okay, time value of the money, and we need to quantify alternatives for decision making. Quantifying alternative for an item is the most important aspect of decision making for selecting the best option. That is interesting. For example, a construction company is planning to purchase a new concrete mixer or preparing concrete at the construction site. Let's say there are two alternatives available for purchasing the mixer: an automatic concrete mixer and semi-automatic concrete mixer. Concrete means owner of the company have two options, that automatic concrete mixer and semi-automatic concrete mixer. Then the task is to find the best alternative that company will purchase that will yield more profit. So everything depends on the business. The greater the profit, the greater the chances of accepting that alternative. So how are we going to quantify the alternative for decision making? For this purpose, one has to quantify both alternatives by the following parameters: the initial cost, that includes purchase price of the equipment, sale taxes, cost of the delivery and cost of the assembly and installation; annual operating cost of the equipment; annual profit, which will depend on the productivity, that is concrete prepared. Productivity, I told you that is output, that concrete that is concrete mixer, then concrete prepared, that is excavator, then excavation, and filler and dumper and those things traveling and The expected useful life and expected salvage life and other expenditure or income associated with that equipment and income tax benefits. So these factors need to be considered while quantifying alternatives for decision making. Okay, then on the basis of economic criteria, the best alternative is selected by calculating the present worth or future worth or equivalent uniform annual worth of both alternatives by incorporating the appropriate interest rate per year and the number of years, that is the comparison made between our same number of years for both alternatives. Then concrete mixer with least cost and higher net income is considered for purchase. Means you have three options. Almost present worth, based on the present worth you decide, based on the future worth you decide, or based on equivalent uniform annual worth you decide while considering the some interest rate per year for both of the equipment, and then you decide the whatever the least cost will be, you go for that. In addition to economic parameters as mentioned previously, non-economic parameters, namely environmental, social and legal and other regulatory and permitting processes, must also be considered for evaluation and selection of the best alternative. It says that economy should not be the only parameter for quantifying alternative for decision making. You should also consider environmental complications, social and legal and regulatory and permitting aspects of the evaluation too. These non-parametric economic parameters are essentially required for the selection of the best alternatives for the infrastructure and heavy construction projects like dams, bridges, roadways, etc. and other publicly and privately funded projects, namely office buildings, hospitals, apartment buildings and shopping malls, etc. When the available alternatives exhibit the same equivalent cost or same net income, then the non-economic parameters may play a vital role in selection of the best alternatives. It may be noted here that non-economic parameters cannot be expressed in numerical values. 2-3 points are important here in this paragraph. One is this, that if there is a tie in economic aspects, if there is a tie, if there is a tie in economic aspects, then how you are going to deal with that? You need to consider social other aspects rather than economic aspects. So you need to give them some weightages, and then you have to decide for best alternative for decision making. And secondly, non-economic parameters are very difficult to calculate and make them quantifiable. Time value of money, cash flow diagrams. You have studied cash flow diagrams in engineering economics in detail, and let's briefly overview them. The graphical representation of the cash flow, that is cash flow includes cash outflow and cash inflow. When cash is coming in, cash is coming towards you, then there is cash inflow, and cash is going outwards, and there is expenses, then cash is outflow. With respect to time scale is referred to as cash flow diagram. Cash flows with respect to shown on the time scale is referred as cash flow diagrams. Cash inflows are generally indicated by vertical arrow on the time scale. Vertical arrow above shows cash vertical arrows above and below shows the cash flow, and cash outflow costs or expenses are generally represented by a vertical downward arrow. Means if there is cash outflow, then that is shown by vertical downward arrow, whereas cash inflow, revenue or income is represented by upward arrow, that is positive sign, and cash inflow is upward arrow, and downward arrow is cash outflow. In the cash flow diagram, the number of interest periods is shown on the time scale. So interest periods are shown on the time scale, and interest period may be a quarter, a month or a year. Since the cash flow generally occurs at different time intervals within an interest period, for ease of calculation, all the cash flows are assumed to occur at the end of interest periods. So all the cash flows interest should be incurred on at the end of interest periods. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. All right, this is the cash flow diagram, typical cash flow diagram. You can see this is the schematic that this is horizontally it will show the time scale and cash inflow and cash outflow, and cash flow with respect to time is known as cash flow diagram. This is cash flow diagram. This is 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, lakh. 1 lakh rupees at year 0 you borrowed them, and this is the cash outflow, or you bought an equipment and or borrowed the money, and at the end of the life 10 years then you have to this much inflow, and this is outflows. And these are the interest periods: 1 year, end of year 1, end of year 2, end of year 3, and some percentage has been interest percent has been occurred over the original amount. Compound interest factors. Compound interest factors and the corresponding formulas are used to find out the unknown amount at the given interest rates continuing for a certain interest periods from the known values of varying cash flows. So you can find unknowns with the help of compound interest factors. Those factors are present worth, present value, and future worth or future sum, and annual, uniform annual worth, or means annually how much that is worth, and equivalent uniform annual worth of the uniform series continuing our specified number of interest periods. N is the number of interest periods. It can be year or month. Interest rates per interest period, percentage per year, percentage per month. If that is month, N is in months, then that's percentage per month, or if that is in years, then percentage per year. You need to be cautious in incorporating N and I. If that is per month, then I rate of interest should be per month, and if that is N is in years, then rate of interest should be per year. So these are the compound interest factors. These are 5 factors. So among these, if you don't know 1, 2, 3, 4 factors you don't know, then you can find and then fifth factor you can find. Unless otherwise stated, the rate of interest is compound interest. If that is not stated, that is simple interest. Otherwise, in all the numericals and all the practical examples, you have to incorporate the compound interest, and is for the entire number of interest periods, that is n interest periods. Compound interest factors, just look at this, present worth, future worth, future worth, future worth, and this is uniform annual worth from year 1 to year 5. While deriving the different compound interest factors, it is assumed that interest is compounded once per interest period, that is discrete compounding. So once per interest period, that is compounded, not twice. Once, twice, once, so discrete compounding. Further, the cash flow are assumed to be discrete, that is they occur at the end of interest periods. Cash flow also are discrete, they are not continuous, they occur at the end of, they are calculated at the end of interest periods. Interest rate and cash flow are discrete at the end of interest periods annually. Okay, time value of money. Compound interest factors include single payment compound amount factor. Single payment compound amount factor. The single payment compound amount factor is used to compute the future worth accumulated after n years from the known present worth at a given interest rate, interest per interest period. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. It is assumed that interest period is in years and interest is compounded once per year. So if you this is the single payment compound amount factor formula is this, that if you know the present worth, then you can find the future unknown value provided that you know the interest rate and number of years. If you bought 1 lakh rupees, if you borrowed 1 lakh rupees today from the bank with 10% interest for 5 years, so you can incorporate that in this formula, that after 5 years how much total money you need to pay. And you should be clear that there is compound interest and not simple interest, and compound interest is mostly used in our day-to-day life. Single payment present worth factor. It states that present is known and you need to find the future is known and you need to find the present. And here single payment compound amount factor. Present is known and you need to find the future. Present worth factor, you need to find the present and future is known. You need to find the present and future is known, and all other factors are known. You need to apply this formula. Uniform series apply, then uniform annual rate is incorporated. Present worth factor, present worth you need to find while uniform series is known. Uniform series is known and you need to find the present worth. Uniform series represents, okay, in particular equation there are almost 1, 2 and 3 and 4 unknowns, 4 variables, and out of these 4 variables 3 should be known and to find the fourth one. If a person wants to get a known uniform amount of return every year, how much he has to invest now? Means a person is saying that per annually I want to get 1 lakh rupees per annum. So how much I should invest today? This is for that case. Capital recovery factor is when present is known and annually uniform annual amount you need to find. To find the uniform annual amount of a uniform series from a known present value at a given interest I. So if you bought a machine today and how much you have to return per annually, or you have to your cost per annum is how much, then uniformly then this formula is used. If a person invests a certain amount of money now, how much he will get as a return by equal amount of years. This is capital recovery factor. And uniform series compound amount factor. Uniform series means A is incorporated and compound amount factor, so F is unknown. With the help of A you are going to find the future amount. Uniform series compound amount factor is used to determine the future sum F of a known uniform annual series with uniform amount A. This cash flow diagram states that if a person invests a uniform amount at the end of each year continued for n years at interest rate of I per year, how much he will get at the end of n years. Alright, sinking fund factor. F is known and A is unknown, so how are you going to find A? With the help of F. Is used to calculate the annual amount A of the uniform series from the known future. If a person wants to get the known future, that how I want to earn 10 lakh rupees with after this much years and this much interest rate, how much he has to pay yearly or save yearly, then that is annual sinking fund factor. Okay, this is the summary of all those formulas given in previous lecture, previous slides. Name of the factor, abbreviation used, and functional representation in literature. It will be used like this rather than writing the mathematical formula. So when this is given, this is known, and to find, if you want to find F and P is known, then you are going to apply this formula. Single payment compound amount factor, single payment compound amount factor, abbreviated by first alphabet of the word. Machine rate problem number 1. The initial cost of a piece of construction equipment, pneumatic tire mounted, is 55 lakh rupees, and the estimated salvage value, the salvage value is the resale value at the end of useful life of the equipment, is 9 lakh rupees. Now this is present cost, initial cost is the present cost, and the salvage value is the future cost. The useful life of the equipment is 10 years. So 10 years is the total life, and the equipment will operate 2000 hours per year. The cost of one set of tire is 4 lakh rupees, and a new set of tire will be replaced at end of every 3 years of operation. So this is first set of tire, and this is every 3 years you need to replace them. In addition to repair work of the cost 4,50,000 rupees is expected at the end of year 6. So once in 10 years you have to repair that, and interest rate is 8% per year. So in every calculation you have to incorporate 8% interest, and find out the total cost per hour. Fixed cost plus operating cost for the construction equipment considering time value of the money, means you need to incorporate the interest too. So means a solution is simple. For calculating the hourly ownership and operating cost by considering time value of the money, first equivalent uniform annual cost is calculated at the given interest and is then divided by the number of operating hours per year. As the initial cost includes cost of the tires, the tire cost is subtracted from the initial cost of the equipment for calculating the ownership cost, as the cost of the tire is considered as an element of operating cost. Means this initial cost, which is 55 lakh rupees, that includes the cost of the pneumatic tires. But the problem with this is this, that initial cost is the part of ownership cost, while pneumatic tires is the part of operating cost. So you need to separate operating cost from the ownership cost. So you need to subtract the cost of the tire from the initial cost. So initial cost less cost of the tires is equal to equivalent uniform annual worth of the initial cost is. Why are we calculating the uniform annual worth? Actually, we are interested in this thing, that cost per hour. Cost per hour can very easily be calculated if you have uniform annual cost. Annual cost, you have annual cost, and per how many hours you are going to annual worth cost. 1 hour 2000 hours per year. With the help of annual worth cost. Uniform annual cost. Then divide that with the help of hour worth cost per hour rate. With the help of worth cost uniform annual worth with the help of worth cost of the tire ownership cost is equal to total with the help of worth cost tires rate. So this is your with the help of ownership cost. So now you are going to calculate A1 with the help of annual worth cost with the help of this formula. So means your present worth is known, you want to find the uniform annual cost, and this is ownership cost is known. I is given 8% and N is given 10 years. So we have studied in this that in literature it will be shown like this, APIN. So this have been shown APIN. So present cost, present ownership cost, which is not having that operating cost of the tires, and annual cost, we want to find the annual cost and present cost is known. We want to find the annual cost when present cost is known. This formula is for the uniform series present worth factor, means uniform series present worth factor. We want to find P when A is known. Alright, you just multiply this with this form, this one, put values and you will get this factor, and your uniform series annual worth factor is this much. This is just on the initial cost. So what about the salvage value? Salvage value is the future cost. Salvage value is 9 lakh rupees. So future cost is known, you want to find the annual cost. Future cost is known, you want to find the annual cost, and you, for this you used sinking fund factor. When future is known and you want to find the annual cost, so A2 is uniform annual cost is equal to salvage value, and you want to find the annual cost, and when future is known, so you just multiply this salvage value with this factor, and you will get means annually you have to pay 62,000, keeping number of years and interest per annum. So hourly ownership cost include initial cost minus salvage value divided by operating cost will be hourly rate, hourly ownership cost. So this is 3348 rupees per hour is the equivalent uniform annual worth of the depreciation cost. So A means initial cost minus salvage value is whatever you will get, that is the depreciation cost of the equipment considering time value of the money. Okay, this was ownership cost per hour. Now we want to calculate the means operating cost. Equivalent uniform annual worth of the cost tires is A3. Equipment will require 3 sets of replacement of the tires in addition to original. See, just look at this thing that total life is 10 years, and after 3 years tires must be replaced. So almost 3 replacement after 3 year, 6 year and 9th year you need to replace the tires. So at the end of 3rd year, end of 6th year, end of 9th year you need to replace. In order to find out the equivalent uniform annual worth of the cost, tire cost, first equivalent present worth of the cost of replacement is calculated using the appropriate compound interest factor, followed by adding it to the original initial set of the tires, and then converting the present worth to the uniform annual cost over the entire useful life of 10 years using the appropriate compound interest factor. It is stating this that by you have 3 sets of tires, you have to replace 3 sets of tires, and each set, after each set means you have to multiply that cost with present worth. You have to find the present worth of those tires, and when you find the present worth, then you have to find the annual uniform annual worth of those tires. You find the present worth and add that present worth of those replacement of the tires to the original set of the tire, and then you convert that to equivalent present worth, and you convert that to equivalent uniform annual cost of the entire useful life of 10 years. How it is this? A3 is for tires, uniform annual rate. So original set of the tire plus 1, 2, 3 replacements with future cost is known. Future is known and we want to find the present cost. So put values in this formula, and for 3 years, and will differ 3 years, 6 years and 9 years. At the end of 9 years, 6 year and 3 year you need to replace, and add that with the original set of the tires. Alhamdulillah. So this formula will help us find the present cost. This is the present cost of the tire, this is the present cost, this is the present cost, and with the help of, when present cost is known, then you can easily convert that to annual cost by applying this formula. Annual cost, when present cost is known, and you have to apply for 10 years, because these all tires present cost will be applicable on the 10 years duration. So solving that, then it can cost you that unit 10, 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 1,74,000 rupees. So now it is a cost of that has been calculated. Uniform annual cost of tires have been calculated, that is operating cost. Operating cost also include repair work at the end of 6 year. So once in 6 year you have to incorporate, and the next 6 year will not be included, because that will be out of the 10 years duration, because at 10th year you want to sell that, there is a salvage value. So repair cost, how are you going to do this? This is a future cost, future repair cost, or at the end of 6th year. You will first find it, means convert this future cost to the present cost, and present cost, and then present cost to the annual cost. So applying the formula, present cost when future is known, and this is annual repair cost, this is future cost. So you convert this future cost to the present cost, and you will put this multiplying factor is this one. You will get you put values in this thing, and you will get this factor, and this is now, when you multiply this future cost multiply by this rate, then you will get the present cost, and now you have to convert this present cost to the annual cost of 10 years. So this is your annual cost. So an hourly operating cost is the sum of tires plus repair work divided by number of hours in which machine will be used. So per hour, per year. So these are yearly costs. Yearly cost of the tire and yearly cost of the repair work divided by number of hours, yearly hours which machine will be used. So this is your annual operating cost. So the question was total cost per hour. That includes fixed cost plus operating cost. Fixed cost include ownership cost, and operating cost included that tires and repair work. So you need to add total hourly cost of the construction equipment is hourly cost, ownership cost plus hourly operating cost. Ownership cost, which you calculated here, this one, and operating cost, this one. You add them and you get the hourly ownership cost. Now our total hourly cost of the machine. So this is your bidding rate. That okay, you did not provide a profit margin over here. So means it can be said that 10% or 20%, whatever the contractor want to earn from here. So for 60 rupees, so he can charge 600 or 700 rupees per hour for his equipment. So very simple problem and very comprehensive. Okay, this was the first method, means using time value of the money, simple formulas of economics which you studied previously. You use them and found the per hour cost. This is our major purpose of studying the machine rate, that you are able to find the per hour cost. Alright, problem number 2 of the machine rates states that for a piece of construction equipment mounting on rubber tires, pneumatic tires, find out the hourly ownership cost. Only ownership cost we need to calculate using average annual investment method. Not using the time value of the money, just using average annual investment method with straight line depreciation from the following data. This question, same question can be calculated from the previous method, but this is a different method, so two different methods are being taught. So same previous problem you can solve by this method, and this problem you can solve by time value of the money principles. Initial cost is 80 lakh rupees of the machine, and estimated salvage value, the value the cost of resale is 13 lakh 50,000 rupees at the end of 11 years. After 11 years it might cost, this is the book value, that in books it will be cost like this. The cost of the set of the tires is 6 lakh rupees, and the equipment will operate, this is hourly, these many hours per year. In 1 year 1800 hours this machine will operate. The interest rate is 7.5% per year containing for 11 years, and the annual rates of tax, insurance and storage are, in tax is 3%, insurance is 2.5%, and storage is 1% respectively. For this equipment also calculate the hourly tire cost. Means there are 2% hourly ownership cost and hourly tire cost by not considering time value of the money. You need not to consider time value of the money. It means that interest should not be incorporated in tires. If a new set of tires will be replaced at the end of every 4 years of operation, so every 4 years of operation you need to change the tires, and the estimated tire repair cost is 15% of the straight line depreciation. So means it has shown the depreciation that you need to calculate the depreciation and 15% of the straight line. So how many times do you need to change the tires? 4 years, and then 8th year, and then 12th year. So 12th year is out of range, so for 2 times you need to change the tires. Okay, first step is initial cost includes cost of the tires. Tires cost is subtracted from the initial cost of the equipment for the ownership cost. So this is the cost, and this is initial cost does have incorporated the cost of the tire, which is we have studied initial cost is under the head of ownership cost, and cost of the tires is under the head of operating cost. So we need to subtract the cost of the tire. Initial cost less than the tires of the cost of the tires, 80 lakh minus 6 lakh, so 74 lakh rupees. So salvage value is 13 lakh, useful life is N. So using the annual investment, average annual investment formula, present worth means tires have been subtracted, number of years plus 1 plus salvage value, this is future value. So we need not to multiply that, we need to convert present value to future value, and the future value to present value, and then present value to annual uniform annual value, or this present value then multiplying with the uniform annual value. This formula is automatically will give us the average annual investment from that 2 multiplied by n. So just put that an average uniform average annual investment is this much. Same thing you can calculate by using the previous method, that present value is given, then present value you multiply by uniform annual value, and future value is given, salvage value is given, then convert that future value to present value, and then present value to uniform annual value, or future value is given, then can directly convert that to annual value and then add them and subtract the present value from salvage initial value minus salvage value and divide by number of hours of operating. So annual interest or investment interest cost. The average annual interest or investment cost Alhamdulillah. Sorry, the average annual interest or investment cost is calculated by multiplying the average annual investment by the annual interest rate. So just annual AAI multiplied by interest rate, so that will give you the interest 34 3,48,000 rupees you have to pay annually. So annual depreciation cost, cost can be using straight line depreciation method. We have studied this formula in our previous lecture. Present value minus salvage value divided by number of years. So this is annual depreciation cost. 5,50,000 rupees per annum. Its value is degrading. So annual expenses, tax, insurance, and storage are calculated by multiplying the average annual investment by respective annual rates. So A3 is you are using different variables because you cannot just use one variable and keep on changing its values and answers. So average annual investment multiplied by 3%, average annual investment multiplied by 2.25% and 1%. So these are all calculated. Okay, you have studied the taxes, insurance, storage, and depreciation, and annual costs. Initial costs are comes under the head of ownership cost. So hourly ownership cost of the construction is calculated as hourly ownership cost is equal to add the initial cost plus A2 depreciation cost, annual depreciation cost, annual interest cost, annual tax cost, annual insurance cost, annual storage cost divided by annual operating hours. Add them together divided by number of operating hours is equal to your hourly ownership cost. One part of the question has been solved. Hourly ownership cost. So second part is hourly tire cost. By not considering the time value of the money, you need not to consider or incorporate the tax value. So hourly tire cost is equal to the sum of hourly tire use replacement cost and tire repair cost. Hourly tire use cost is obtained by dividing the cost of the set of the tires by useful life. Hourly tire cost divided by number of hours of the use. So hourly tire cost is equal to 15% of the hourly depreciation cost of the tires. The total depreciation cost of the set of the tires over its estimated life is equal to its initial value as its salvage value is assumed as 0. So how are you going to cost the depreciation of the tire? As salvage value of the cost hourly cost tire is 0, salvage value of the tire is 0, and present value you know the cost, and then divided by number of years and multiply that with the percentage of the depreciation. So you will get the hourly rate of the repair cost of the tire, and hourly rate of the use of the tire is total cost of the tires divided by useful life. As mentioned in the question, a new set of tires will be replaced at every 4 years of the operation, and the equipment will operate 1800 years per hour per year. Thus, the life of the set of the tires is equal to 7,200 hours. 4 times 4 years. So 4 years. So hourly tire is hourly tire use cost plus hourly tire repair cost. So hourly tire cost is equal to 6 lakh rupees, 6 lakh divided by annually how much it is used, and plus repair cost of the tire is initial cost of the tire minus salvage value, which is 0, divided by number of hours multiplied by 15% of the depreciation. This is depreciation rate. So this is your hourly tire cost. So we did not consider the time value of the money. There is no end periods, and you have seen that there is no rate of interest. So thus the construction equipment, the hourly ownership cost is this much, 667 rupees per hour, and hourly tire cost, by not considering time value of the money, we have not considered time value of the money, is 95 rupees per hour. Very simple. Same problem you can solve by using previous method, and you will get the same answer, similar answers. Problem number 3, machine rates. This has been solved with a more straightforward method, and you can go through it, and very simple to solve. Example of the machine rates: a power saw, a tractor, a team of oxen, and a truck are shown in the table. Although the machine rates in the table 3.5 to 3.8 share the same general format, there is flexibility to present costs that are specific to the machine types, particularly in calculation of the operating cost. For the power saw table, this major operating identified with the chain bar, SP rocket. So they have been broken out separately. For the oxen, the fixed costs have been divided. Okay, let's see it. This problem has already been solved. So you can see that machine rate calculation for power saw. Machine description. This is the description of the machine, and motor cc 60 cc motor, life in hours 1000 hours, fuel type gas, and operating rate per day is 5.50, and social cost is this much, price per liter is this much, and hour per year. Okay. Cost, depreciation cost is delivered cost multiplied by the depreciation rate divided by life in hours, and interest is delivered cost multiplied by the rate of interest when it is not given. So 6%. Interest rate is this much, and this is the factor, and number of average hours, and insurance. Similarly, taxes and labor. You can see tractor, depreciation, interest, insurance, taxes, labor, fuel. This formula we have studied. Oil and grease, services and repairs, and many of the assumptions and many of the factors have been used. This is a shortcut method. You can go through them and view them. It's easy to solve, not so detailed, and this is your total cost in dollars. Similarly, a team of oxen, previously oxens and animals would be used, and pastures and food supplements and medicines and veterinary, its calculation have been carried out, and truck tires replacement have also been carried out. So you can go through this problem too, and same problems you should solve by different methods. 3 different methods means this is approximate method, just multiplying the factors when details are not given, and this is average annual investment method, very simple and straightforward. And problem number 1 was uniform annual rate, annual worth method, and considering these problem number 1 and problem number 2 are calculated by time value of the money, and even third one is also calculated by time value of the money, and the small assumption of example of calculation of the tires we have calculated except time value of the money. So this is all the concept regarding the time value of the money, and please make sure that time value of the money, Islam do not permit interest in day-to-day our circumstances, and even It is totally forbidden in Islam. Is that interest? Actually, Islam says that you cannot earn on money. You cannot earn money on money. So you cannot earn dollars on dollars, or money cannot be sold. You need to conduct some physical activity to get some money, and while this interest whole thing is based on savings. What you do, you put some 1 lakh rupees in the bank saving account, and at the end of year it will give you 1 lakh 10,000 rupees, if that is 10% interest. So that is totally profit, and it will keep on moving on the profit basis. And if so you are buying loan, then it will be 10% and 12% interest, and bank will keep on earning because they have kept some percentage of saving for themselves, and that another person who is taking the loan, he will get bankrupt, and another person who is apparently having saving accounts, he will keep on earning on the basis of that bankrupt person, and in the middleman, which is the bank, will keep on earning. So this is the concept which Islam forbids, and that's it. You can ask different experts why it is forbidden and what are the disadvantages of using time value of the money, although it has populated our society. Okay, for running your businesses and working in such environments in which this interest is covered our society, so you need to know these concepts on which fundamental principles they are working. So this was just a brief overview of your engineering economics. So that's it for today. And a very exciting lecture, and you need to have calculations. Thank you for listening, and see you in upcoming lecture with more interesting concepts, and